Welcome back to TYT Sports in partnership with RotoWire, and joining me again today, Andre Snelling's coming in from Michigan, the Kevin Garnett diehard. He was going to wear a Kevin Garnett jersey, but I see he changed real quick beforehand. We'll see if he's got one later in the year. We just wrapped up our Western Conference preview. We did that yesterday, and we posted it yesterday. Make sure to click on it and check it out and let us know how awesome our predictions were. Today, we tackle the Eastern Conference. Beasts of the East Nation is going to be one of the harder things to try to predict, either educated or analytically, or which way you want to try. There's only one thing that me and Andre know, and that would be shocking if the Cavaliers don't make the playoffs. So, Andre, I'd like to start with you again. I should ask again, first off, how you doing today?
Doing good. Doing good. You know, it's a weekend.
There you go. In addition to that, who's winning the Eastern Conference? And let's run through 1 through 8.
Okay, as you said, I mean, the only team I have any confidence in the East is the Cavs. So, the Cavs number one, and I'll let you say if you disagree.
I think I have the Cavs at 1. The only semblance of a chance that tells me the Cavs wouldn't be the 1 is one of the things that you were mentioning to me before we did this clip. And that was, how much are they going to really rest LeBron James during the regular season? And if so, are the Atlanta Hawks going to be a regular season dream and win 55, 58, 60 games? Only way. That's the only way I see the Cavs not getting the 1 seed.
This time last year, nobody could have seen the Hawks as a regular season dream, you know. So maybe I would change that to, could anybody, hit a regular season run
right.
and surpass them. But because actually, I'm not that high on the Hawks this year, honestly.
That's interesting. So let's hear your 2 through 8. Cavs at 1, 2 through 8 from Andre.
Okay, so yeah. Also, as I mentioned before the clip, for 2 through 8, I threw darts, and whatever landed is what I picked. So my second dart went into the Chicago Bulls. I still like their size and their all-around ability. I don't know what to expect from Derrick Rose, but even without him, they're still really strong. Then I got the Pacers moving back up into the third slot with Paul George back. You know, they've had a lot of turnover, especially with their big men. But I think they'll build a team around him that'll be successful in the regular season. I've got the Miami Heat making a rise up to number 4. Dwayne Wade might be on 2 fake knees by the time the season's over. But if him and Bosh can give them 65 games between the two of them, I think they'll be pretty strong this year. I've got the Milwaukee Bucks is kind of, a team on the rise in the East. So I actually wouldn't be surprised if they slid a little higher than 5, but I have them in my 5 slot.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the Hawks at 6. They seem like they just caught lightning in a bottle last year. Like, I never felt like they were that good when I watched them. Then the playoffs came around and they played like I thought they would play all year. So I've got them at 6. Got the Wizards at 7. They're another young team on the rise. They could be a little higher, a little lower, but I think they make the playoffs. And then finishing it off at number 8, I kind of like how the Boston Celtics are kind of building this kind of team of nobodies with the college coach that just kind of scraps, and I feel like they might scrap their way to that 8th slot.
I like that call a lot. Bill Simmons always said, and we were fortunate enough to interview him once, and he said, like, it sounds funny, but the Celtics are just one great player away from being a legitimate contender for a title because they have all the pieces, the Avery Bradleys, and obviously Brad Stevens has proven that he's a good NBA coach, Isaiah Thomas. There's so many pieces there that work. They have shooters, they have wing defenders. They just don't have what I'm pretty sure Bill Simmons is alluding to, DeMarcus Cousins at the 5. So I like your 1 through 8. And I agree that we are basically throwing darts at a dartboard because it is very hard to do any kind of predictions in general. Like, I mean, I never ask the audience to cut us a break here, but like, if we're right at the end of the year, like, and I mean, word for word, team for team, we should be getting like Nobel Peace Prizes, Pulitzer Prize winning. I don't care what the award is. Peabody's, give them to us. I have the Hawks higher than you. I have the Hawks at 3 for the reason that I think they just are a good team in the regular season. And one of the, it sounds harsh, and it's gonna come out harsh. One of the biggest failures in the NBA last year is the fact that the Hawks were considered a top 4 team by year's end because they made the Eastern Conference Finals. It's because the Eastern Conference is weak, not as weak as last year because, yes, just Paul George being back makes them, the Indiana Pacers, immediately a better team overall. And if anybody was questioning his health, he started dunking all over the preseason. So you could be very well right, and I could be very well wrong on this, that the Hawks just caught lightning in a bottle. I think they win 55, 60 games again. Not 60, 55, 56 games. Just because regular season basketball, the first half of the season is such a coin toss in general. Who knows how much mileage that coaches want to put on their players. So that's why I have the Hawks at 3. I have the Bulls at 2. Tom Thibodeau was the problem with the Bulls. Now, what a great defensive coach, and he was like such a defensively minded individual. That team is going to physically beat you down. Except the problem with that was Paul Gasol can't really play defense anymore, and Joakim Noah can't really play offense anymore, and they're both getting older and older, and all Tom Thibodeau did to them was drive that team into the ground. It's not his fault that Derrick Rose's new slogan is never break after breaking every single bone in his body, after tearing every ligament. He is an anomaly to the NBA. It really sucks that it all happened to him. But if you put Greg Popovich, yes, if you put Greg Popovich on any team, but if you just took his minutes management and put it in Tom Thibodeau's head, the Bulls would have had a much better chance of advancing. Not saying they would have won the finals, not saying that they would have been NBA champions 3 years in a row, but yes, defensively minded coach, sure, that didn't do shit for them overall, in terms of getting to a finals at least. The Raptors, the Raptors at the 4. I just don't believe in them. I will be open-minded as we go into the season. I promise all of the audience, Dre, I promise you too, I will be open-minded to the Toronto Raptors. One problem, DeMarre Carroll, right? DeMarre Carroll was throwing a lot of money in the offseason after performing to the definition of standard mediocrity and excelling just past it in the playoffs, right? And if you have the assignment of LeBron James, like, you're going to look bad. But look at the talent in the NBA today. Look how many people can play the stretch 4 and play the 3, and there's no positions, and there's kind of a 5, and everybody else is a 1 through 4. There is no good situation. There's no great matchup in the NBA for DeMarre Carroll. I just don't believe in that guy either. So I thought that was a bad signing. I don't see what he brings to him. And then real quick, the Wizards, not coached by, they still coached by the guy who yells at Gortat on the sidelines? Yes, Randy Whitman. How could I forget? Reddit once said the Wizards coach is the guy who yells at Gortat on the sideline. And that is it. Pacers at the 6 because I believe in Paul George. I'm a Knicks fan, but I have to. Celtics at the 7. And the Bucks. Fear the deer, man. I think they're going to be an elusive 8. There's a lot of moving pieces with that team. Jabari Parker's back. That's going to be fun. That's great for the NBA. Giannis Antetokounmpo looks good. And the MCW, Michael Carter-Williams, is the definition of a stat pattern. He is a fantasy basketball dream, but he's not going to win you a championship at point guard. So, disagreements, agreements, what do you think, Dre? What do we like about the Eastern Conference this year?
Well, first of all, I want to give you accolades for how well you said the Greek Freak's name. I'm not even going to try it. I'm just going to say the Greek Freak because clearly you've practiced that in the mirror.
Only for the last 18 months, just to debut it today.
As for disagreements, I think we both had a very interesting team left off of ours. I had the Raptors left off of mine, and I couldn't think of a good reason for it. I just kind of liked some other teams, and I wanted to mention them.
Of course.
On paper, the Raptors might be better than the Celtics, for instance, but I wanted to get the Celtics in there. You leaving off the Heat, I thought was interesting because I feel like before Chris Bosh went down, they had the potential to be better, and he's back now. And then they have Hassan Whiteside with them. So that gives them one of the better front courts on paper in the East. And even if they only get 60 games out of Wade's 1/3 of a knee, I still feel like they should that should be good enough to make the playoffs in the East, where you didn't even have to be 500 last year to be the 7th seed.
You don't have to be 400. Technically, you don't even have to win games in the East. But, no, it's interesting. And I guess I have a similar reason to you in terms of why I left the Heat off as the Raptors. Do I have a great reason? No, but I do know when it comes to predicting these conferences and having to pick 16 of the teams to make it and getting them in order, it's almost impossible. But there's pieces that I like about the Heat. I think Justice Winslow is one of the most underrated draft picks. I think he should have went higher. The fact that he fell to the Heat in a Pat Riley-owned system, and Eric Spoelstra, who I've always said 20 years from now, going to be the greatest coach in the NBA, just because all the experience he got winning titles, not him winning titles, but with those kind of egos, those kind of open floor spacing that changed the way, or kind of transitioned the way the NBA has worked over the last 5 years. Speaking of LeBron and Wade, when he had 2 actual knees, or maybe like one actual knee. So my reason for the Heat, it comes a lot down to how much can Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh play, and is the Hassan Whiteside experiment going to work? And it should be interesting, because if it does, Hassan Whiteside is a transformational type of player that it's like you can't even put your finger on it. What is he doing that is so great, and it's awesome to watch? As I asked in the Western Conference, any other predictions, anything that any other teams or players you're really excited to watch this year coming into the season?
Because I'm in Michigan, I think I'm excited to see what the Pistons do.
Nice.
I've been going to their preseason games. You were talking about Paul George dunking over everybody. I went to the Pacers Pistons game and watched him dunk all over everybody. I'm going to another one tonight. Going to check out the Pistons playing the Hawks. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they do. I don't expect them to make the playoffs, but I think Andre Drummond is kind of special, and we'll see how Reggie Jackson fits in year 2.
Yeah, that's also, I mean, for like the NBA fanatics, it's like, it's funny because we look at like the top tier talent in the league, in the NBA this year, and we've hit basically a golden age. Have we ever seen all of these stars healthy? I can name them all, but it would take about 14 minutes to do it. And then you get to guys like Andre Drummond and Reggie Jackson, you're like, oh, that's right. Like maybe 10 years ago, those were even premier talents, but now in just comparison to what's been going on in terms of the athleticism and everything has just continued to become more enjoyable to watch. Even guys like Reggie Jackson and Andre Drummond get mentioned off a team that probably won't make the playoffs. But in terms of the preseason game, I hope you enjoy it. That is the one thing I don't bet on is preseason basketball, because who even comes close to understanding or knowing what is going to go on? Andre, you can be followed at Professor DRZ on Twitter. Make sure to check him out over there. And, of course, make sure to come back for more TYT Sports. We're going to be doing one more clip with Andre on the Comeback Player of the Year. An interesting debate that will go on. Make sure to subscribe to TYT Sports. Check out the Western Conference preview. Make sure you hold us to our predictions, because I promise we will probably not be 100% right. But maybe we can play it like the East, and only we have to be 40% right to make the playoffs. Comment below. Follow myself on Twitter at JaceRumor91 and at TYT Sports. We'll see you.